has been the administrator for the Rock Island County Soil and Water Conservation District for the past 2 years. She grew up on her grandpa's farm in Morrison, Illinois. Dawn attended the University of Illinois Chicago and earned her bachelor's degree in economics, and then obtained her master's degree in business administration at Western Illinois University, Quad Cities. She also currently serves as the financial recorder for the Henry-Mercer-Rock Island Stark University of Illinois Extension Advisory Council and the vice chair for the QC Earth Coalition. Dawn loves being in nature and advocating for conservation in both urban and rural settings. She's a proud parent of 2 sons and currently lives in Moline, where she is always gardening and cheering on her kids at football and baseball games. In her free time, Dawn loves to go hiking and travel anywhere and everywhere. So I will go ahead and let Dawn share her screen. She's presenting from sunny Mexico. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer in case there are a few technology issues. We have some backups in place. So thank you so much, Dawn, for taking time out of your vacation to present for us.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's actually, there's a tropical storm here, but the sun's peeking out right now. So I got the nice palm trees in the background there. So let me share the screen with you here. I'm going to start by, I guess I wanted to start by sharing a video with you all. Before I started working at the Soil and Water Conservation District, I had never even heard of soil and water conservation districts. And personally, I do a lot, in volunteering with the, different conservation organizations and do a lot of gardening. And so I think I just wanted to share this video because I find it really informative and gives a great background on soil and water districts and what they're about and what, our mission is. Soil and water districts exist in every state except for Georgia and represent almost every county across our country. So this is just a short video about the history, and at the end, we have some drone footage of some different projects that have been done in Rock Island County with cost share funding, which I'll talk about after the video.
Soil, water, and other natural resources. Conservation districts are the heart of what nourishes and sustains our country. Established beginning in the 1930s, conservation districts have overcome challenges and adapted to build a community committed to conservation of our nation's natural resources, to provide for an ever-growing population. Conservation districts were born out of the Great Depression, a result of our nation's tremendous loss of topsoil during the Dust Bowl period, and a critical part of Hugh Hammond Bennett's vision to rescue and restore our country's fertile farmlands. In 1935, Congress established the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Soil Conservation Service, now named the Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS. Hugh Hammond Bennett headed and built the agency and became widely regarded as the father of soil conservation in America, thanks to his emphasis on improving soil health. In 1937, President Roosevelt recommended the Standard State Soil Conservation Districts Act to every governor in the United States. This act gave states a step-by-step guide to create conservation districts and listed what powers and responsibilities the district should have, such as conducting demonstrations, carrying out research, directing prevention and control measures, giving assistance to landowners, and supporting wise land use. Arkansas became the first state to enact legislation regarding conservation districts, followed quickly by several other states. The first district in the nation, Brown Creek Soil Conservation District, was chartered in North Carolina on August 4, 1937. By July 1, 1945, all 48 states had passed district enabling acts. Conservation districts grew stronger during the 1940s, educating communities about the need for erosion control and practical measures to combat it.
I am concerned about these youngsters of ours that are coming on, whose heritage of rich soil is being destroyed by our prevailing farm methods. The economic threat is grave, but even more serious are the social implications of these wasteful practices on our future generations.
As World War II ended, districts recognized heavy-duty military equipment could be utilized in the fields of America to protect and develop soil and water resources. In January 1946, district representatives met in Washington, D.C. to support legislation repurposing surplus equipment for use by districts. The proposed bill died before it could get out of committee, leading districts to realize they lost simply because they were in an unorganized group, speaking with many voices rather than one. Before they left Washington, D.C., conservation district officials met to discuss the need for a national organization. On July 25, 1946, in Chicago, representatives from 17 states created the National Association of Soil Conservation District Governing Officials. In 1970, the name was shortened to the National Association of Conservation Districts. As districts faced challenges over the years, including learning emerging technology, surviving droughts, reorganizing district structures, and changing statute authorities and legislation, the National Association helped provide guidance and consistency to its member districts. With conservation districts' leadership, dedication, and locally led approach, landowners and communities have continued to improve their land productivity, water quality, wildlife habitat, and quality of life. The National Association became an integral resource to facilitate communication and growth of districts from coast to coast. NACD strived then, as it does today, to provide local conservation districts with a more powerful, unified national voice. Throughout the years, conservation districts have changed in structure. During their inception, conservation districts were led only by a governing board. Today, while those local boards still guide districts, the range of partners has grown dramatically. Most districts are co-located in service centers with conservation delivery partners like NRCS. Conservation districts develop partnerships to provide local, technical expertise to their communities' landowners, preserve the nation's forests, and assist customers with conservation planning, soil health initiatives, and education outreach and events. They serve as the local government in the federal, state, and local government conservation delivery system. The nation's nearly 3,000 conservation districts are at work in almost every county in the country and in U.S. territories such as Puerto Rico and Guam. As the nation's population continues to shift from rural communities to urban areas, conservation districts are hard at work creating urban conservation initiatives and engaging future conservation leaders while still addressing conservation needs across the forests, farms, and grasslands of the nation. Conservation districts continue to gain strength through grassroots advocacy, educating future generations, improving capacity for customer services, providing networking opportunities, and outreach to underserved communities. By focusing on the locally led model rather than regulations or enforcement, districts are able to help their fellow neighbors help their land and protect it, even when disaster strikes. As conservation districts expand services and technical capacity, they also are expanding services demographically, reaching out to underserved or underrepresented populations. By always emphasizing the locally led model of conservation delivery, districts represent their increasingly diverse communities and help make all citizens' voices heard. Conservation districts have changed from primarily preserving farmland to providing expertise and guidance for all landscapes. We have been locally led from the beginning, and we continue that way today. The future of conservation districts is the future of our nation's natural resources. We are many communities and many landscapes with one mission and one voice.
The farmers and ranchers that are putting conservation on the ground is really almost immeasurable. They do so much that I don't think people even recognize or appreciate all that we're doing. We really need to be thinking about recruiting the young people to be involved in the conservation district movement, to be involved on the boards, but we have to empower them. We have to let them be involved. They have a lot of energy and talent, but to build them as leaders, we've got to bring them in and let them be those leaders.
As conservation districts look to the future, we must continue to expand our outreach, especially to the next generation. We must utilize new technology to make conservation data and guidance more accessible. We must provide resources to teachers and encourage younger generations to get involved. We must continue to promote soil health practices, help urban dwellers manage their landscapes, and provide leadership on natural resources and environmental issues.
There will always be new challenges, new administrations, new interpretations to the Farm Bill and other programs that we deal with. We work hard to adapt to those, work with our partners, and move forward with conservation work to put good conservation on the ground.
We are only going to be able to feed 9 billion people by the year 2050 if we do so in a way that is sustainable. That's why the work conservation districts do is so important. Districts are the lifeblood of what nourishes and sustains our country's natural resources. As we look to the future, districts are taking on new natural resource concerns across the country, and it will require everyone to be engaged to solve and address them. We must build on the proven success of today's conservation districts to ensure conservation delivery will be stronger now and in the future.
All right, thanks, John. Do you want to try to share your presentation?
How's that? Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I think, it's still super relevant that, even though, this talked about when soil and water districts started in the 40s and, why, and the concerns about erosion, and those are still real concerns that, we have. And a lot of what, soil and water districts do is facilitating and helping landowners with conservation that are farmers. We're trying to, work with, as a, urban area, work with urban residents and farmers, but a lot of still what we're doing is geared a little more towards the farm community. And I'm just going to go through some of our cost share programs that we have available right now. We do work with a lot of partners, and we couldn't make it or facilitate all of our education and our programs without all the partners. And I see a bunch of people on here today that are partners of ours. So we're always super grateful to have such wonderful conservation partners in the Quad Cities. So one big project that we've had going on in our office over the past few years is an Illinois EPA 319 watershed grant. This is directed in Copperas Creek watershed, which the Copperas Creek is a direct tributary into the Mississippi River. It's on the far western end of Rock Island County. And this is our second round of grant funding that we've received from Illinois EPA. And it's about a $300,000 grant this time. And you can see we have here, I listed the outputs of our current grant, which includes stream bank stabilization, grade stabilization structures, water and sediment control basins, grass waterways, a denitrifying bioreactor, and a saturated buffer. Some of these we've already have people in process with doing projects, and we have completed one already. We're still taking applications for this grant, but you do have to live within Copperas Creek watershed to be eligible for cost share funding on this. But it is something that other organizations could apply for. If partners of Scott County watershed, was interested in doing something, or other soil and water districts. I know there's a couple other soil and water districts in our area that have done this particular grant as well. It's a great way to get a lot of BMPs in the ground. You do have to have a watershed plan. I'll touch on that in a little bit, in order to get the funding for the implementation. And what we're trying to do is obviously, you know, increase the water quality of Coppers Creek, which in turn is reducing all of these pollutant loadings, 360 tons of sediment, 413 pounds of phosphorus, and 795 pounds of nitrogen annually from going into the Mississippi River, which then contributes to the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. So each, you know, little portion of those pollutant loads that you can take out of the streams going into the rivers, you know, ultimately helps the greater good of the river and the ocean. So here you can find information about the Coppers Creek watershed and how to apply right on our website with the link down here at the bottom. This program is a 60-40 cost share. So what this means is that 60% of all approved project costs are reimbursed, and then 40% are paid by the landowner and or other partners depending on the structure of the project. The bills would be paid, the landowner pays the contractor directly for the practice, and then we submit to Illinois EPA and then reimburse the landowner the 60%. So I just had a basic example here saying, you know, if you were interested in a saturated buffer that was 1,000 feet long at a cost of $625 per foot, then the total cost would be $6,250, and you would be reimbursed $3,750 of that cost. So over here on the right, you can see just the different breakdowns of the costs, the average costs that we have for the projects that are available with this particular grant. And like I said, every county is a little different in what programs and projects that they are, you know, offering. This is just something that actually was landowner led. Landowners within this watershed had a lot of resource concerns about erosion and stream bank stabilization, and so they were kind of the leaders and came to the Soil and Water Conservation District for assistance, and then we have facilitated that by getting the funding for them. I wanted to bring up another landowner-led initiative / partnership that we currently are working on as well. Last summer, we worked with the Illinois Extension Watershed Coordinator to hold a stakeholder meeting for Mill Creek Watershed, which is a sub-watershed of the high priority Lower Rock watershed. And we had over 30 people that came out that lived within that watershed. And we kind of did a survey and ranked all the different resource concerns, and the top highest priority was stream bank stabilization. So we put together a committee, and we, together with the Illinois Extension Watershed Coordinator, we wrote a grant, 604B grant, to develop a 9-step watershed. So the 9 is what is required before Illinois EPA will provide you with any funding for implementation for BMPs like stream bank stabilization. So the first step is getting that watershed plan, and we're still awaiting confirmation if we receive this grant. If we do get it, we've already hired a contractor that would begin immediately, and then we would go into the process of applying for the 319 grant funding, or we're thinking about NRCS, RCPP funding. We're just going to decide once we get the plan. So that's kind of how the process works on that. Another cost share program that we have annually is funded through the state of Illinois. It's called the Partners for Conservation Program. In addition, they have another program that we can also utilize for stream bank stabilization, and that's called SSRP. It's a separate pool of funds from the Partners for Conservation Program. But whereas like the Copper's Creek program pays 60%, SSRP only pays 50% back to the landowner. So not quite as good, but if you don't have a watershed grant for where you're living, SSRP is always an option. You get 50% paid, so that's still pretty good. A lot of different variety of outputs and BMPs are eligible for the PFC. I just was going to note the ones that, you know, are pretty more common that we utilize, and that, like I said, is the stream bank, pollinator habitat. A new one is so rain gardens. Also, we're doing abandoned well ceilings, cover crops. We're trying to really push on the cover crops again, going back to the soil health and the erosion issues. You know, cover crops are one way that we can really help farmers build back soil health. So we're really trying to get more farmers interested in cover crops, grass waterways, and various other projects determined by the need and the availability of funds after doing a site visit and determining what the, you know, resource concerns are on a particular property. I included a little pie chart here of how we've spent our funds over the past few years. You know, pretty well evenly dispersed. There you can see the little breakdown: cover crops, bioreactor, 13%. We did install a pretty big bioreactor, which is the one and only in Rock Island County currently. We do have another one going in soon, so that's exciting, and another potential one, so that's pretty cool. Dry dams, wells, and you know, a lot of times even the wells are for urban dwellers, so that's one way. And the rain gardens, you know, we all offer for urban residents as well. And if anybody is interested in this particular program, Rich Stewart in our office, you can email him or call our office and ask for Rich. Our current cost share for FY21, our funding actually went down, so we reduced the rate so we could help more people. So we're reimbursing at 60% this year for FY21. Another big thing that we offer to the community is conservation technical assistance. We are here to help you make better conservation choices. That's basically, you know, why we're here. We don't charge for the service to provide the technical assistance. Maybe we can provide financial assistance in some sort of program after, you know, we do a site visit, or maybe, you know, you're just interested in doing something on your own but want some, you know, professional advice. Those are, you know, all things that Soil and Water District offices can help with. You don't have to be a farmer. You don't have to, you know, have a big property. It could be, you know, a backyard, you know, stormwater issue, or I want to put in rain gardens. How can I, you know, implement that? Any, you know, or I'm, you know, have a huge rut in my field and I want to put in a waterway. What, you know, what can I do? Any sort of, you know, resource concerns, you know, maybe some we can help with more than others, or maybe we can refer you to another organization that can help you more than us, but that's why we're here. We have a large network of partners, and we want to help as much as we can to, you know, get the solution to help you and the environment. So, you know, I'm sure not everyone watching, you know, lives in Rock Island County, but every you know, county has a district that you can contact, and, you know, not all programs are exactly the same, but they can, you know, give you some assistance and point you in the right direction. So I was just going to briefly discuss some differences between Illinois and Iowa conservation districts, since we live on the border. Iowa soil and water districts are actually legal subdivisions of the state government. So employees are state employees, and they are run by a board of commissioners voted for in the public general election. So if you live in Iowa, you may have just seen that there were soil and water district commissioners on the election ballot. In Illinois, soil and water districts are actually very unique, and they're independent local government entities run by county boards of directors, with each county running a separate election for themselves. And they are public elections, anyone can come and vote, but they're held kind of, you know, intermittently, annually at their own office, or in some cases, they'll have a election meeting where you can come and vote at their annual meeting. So yeah, a lot of people get confused, like that we are actually a part of Rock Island County, but we're not. We're independent of state, regional, federal government. We just have partnerships with those entities and receive funding from them, but we're not a part of them directly. One major difference between Illinois and Iowa SWCDs is that the Illinois Association of Conservation District chooses to facilitate the NRCS admin and CRP contracts on behalf of NRCS. In Iowa, soil and water districts don't do that work. NRCS contracts that out to like employment agencies to do that work for them. So that's one big difference, and there's not always soil and water district employees in every NRCS office like in Illinois. So a few differences. One main thing that's the same though is the cost share program. Both Illinois and Iowa soil and water districts implement and run that state cost share program. For more, I just want to put this up here so you could see if you want to look up your own county, where your soil and water district is, who you need to contact. In Iowa, you can go to idals.iowa.gov and find information, or in Illinois, you can see here www.illinois.gov, and that would give you a listing of all the different counties and the phone numbers and everything. Another service that we provide for the community are conservation sales. We do biannual conservation trees and shrubs and non-stocking fish, as well as an annual native pollinator plant sale, and we do ongoing prairie seed sales. We work with Pheasants Forever on the prairie seed sales, and they're a great partner to us. We also have a no-till drill that we rent to landowners that would like to, do prairie seed or grass seed or whatever the case is. And, we try to offer all of these at, minimal costs. It's more of a service for the community, and, we just want that conservation to get on the ground. We just finished up our fall tree sale and sold almost 1,000 trees. Probably did get almost to 1,000 with the shrubs and the trees, and had over about 120 people order, and sold a lot of pollinator plants this year. So it's been fun to watch, how we can grow and reach, more people that are, wanting to make those backyard conservation choices. We also do a lot of education events. Our staff works on various external committees and with partner agencies to coordinate and assist with workshops, field days, webinars, and other events. Like I said, a lot of you on here, I know we've coordinated some sort of field day or workshop or presentation or something. And you know, we have right now, our staff is 4 people. So we have 2 full-time people and 2 part-time people, and we do quite a bit of conservation for a staff of 4. So we're pretty happy with what we can accomplish, and that's due to the excellent partnerships from everybody in the area. This was just a couple pictures of some different events up here. This is our stormwater conference that we run every year. Unfortunately, have to cancel it for this coming up February 2021 due to COVID restrictions. Over here, this was a BMP tour we just did recently. We wanted it to be a bus tour, but instead we made it a self-driving tour, and it worked out pretty good. We had a really nice turnout. And last year, down at the bottom, you can see we held a fish workshop about kind of stocking and different health of ponds and everything. And that was at Western Illinois University, and the presenter was an IDNR employee. So that was just a few among other events that we've held this past year. And I just wanted to make a note that the education events are subsidized by funding from Rock Island County and event sponsors, and that way we are just looking to provide these education and outreach events for little to no cost. So it's just a service that we want to do. Here's some upcoming events I wanted to just note and show all the different things that we're doing with different committees, field days. This bioreactor is actually, this install field day, it might not be happening in November if we don't get it installed. It depends on weather. Excuse me. But that is also another partnership with the Illinois Extension. They're actually providing a bioreactor on a site where we're doing the PFC, the waterway, and then Extension is providing that bioreactor. Pretty neat partnership, and we plan to use that for field days because it's a great location. And yeah, so just some other things that we're planning coming up in the next year. We're always putting updates on Facebook and our website, and if you follow us on Facebook, you can stay up to date with everything that we're up to. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Dawn. We will wait a couple seconds to see if anyone has questions for you. If you have a question for Dawn, please type it in the chat in the Zoom screen below. Dawn, I wanted to go ahead and just ask if people are wondering. So we had presentations from Rock Island County Soil and Water today, but also the City of Rock Island. And just like you talked about how you're not connected to government agencies, if people are interested in doing an improvement project, are they able to double dip with funding if they decide to use the same project to apply for your organization and the city? Is there any way to discourage that?
We probably, yeah, we wouldn't really be able to, you know, double dip like that. In fact, Andy and I work pretty closely together on rain garden type stuff, and you know, if he can't help somebody, then he'll send them to us, or you know, if somebody calls us and they're within the city of Rock Island, we would recommend, you know, them going to talk to Andy instead. So because we have that open communication, I don't think there would be a way for anybody to double dip. We've never had any issues with that. But, you know, in some cases, like through Coppers Creek, you know, maybe like there's an issue with the stream bank, and that, you know, township and that stream bank is causing an issue with the bridge or a road. And so then the city wants to get involved and assist with the cost with that, you know, landowner match. We have had that. So I think, you know, depending on the scenario, we could maybe work. It just depends. If City of Rock Island wanted to be the match funds instead of the landowner, then maybe that would work out. But double dipping, no, on the same project.
Okay, thanks. I wanted to clarify that for anyone. All right, it doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat. So thank you so much, Dawn, for your presentation today. And before we end our morning, I'm going to share a little bit about Partners of Scott County Watersheds and the different services that we provide besides putting on this workshop today. I also want to thank Kay Stefanik at the Iowa Nutrient Research Center. They provided a tremendous resource for us today. They're the ones that did all of the background Zoom logistics. So we really appreciate everything they did for us today. We couldn't have done it so easily without them. So once again, my name is Cassie Druhl, and I'm the coordinator for Partners of Scott County Watersheds. And our mission is to improve the stewardship of Scott County watersheds through education, technical guidance, and volunteer opportunities. And we do this in several different ways. One of them is putting on special workshops like today. So I've listed out our board. So Amy Kay with the City of Davenport is our board chair. And then we also have board vice chair Steve Gustafson, who is a Bettendorf resident. And then you will see me on the right as the coordinator. So, and then everyone listed below are our partners of Scott County Watersheds that help us with all of our operations and activities that we put on throughout the year. And they also help connect us with a lot of good resources and good people in the area to help get the word out about water quality improvement. So like you've heard a lot today, all morning, there's a lot of different water quality and flooding concerns on both the urban and rural/agricultural fronts. So I won't go through this whole list in detail, but we all know that the biggest threat to water quality and flooding is impervious surfaces, as well as any pollutants that will collect when there is a major rain event, and then those pollutions are carried away into local waterways when there are a lot of impervious surfaces around. So the goals of Partners of Scott County Watersheds are to gain a better understanding of which watersheds in Scott County are impaired. We do this through regular water quality monitoring. We have 3 volunteer-led water quality monitoring events every year that measure physical, chemical, and biological parameters for around 60 different sites in Scott County. And then we also use this data to identify types of impairment and form solutions for remediating them. So it kind of helps us focus our efforts towards possible solutions, different types of water quality improvement projects that we could find funding for and partner with different organizations to improve the water quality in that area. We also have a goal of spreading a sense of stewardship through volunteer participation and public awareness, as well as engaging watershed residents to participate in projects and programs. So like I mentioned, we have our different educational forums that we put on once a month. We also have our volunteer snapshot water quality monitoring events. And then along with everything you heard today, if you have any questions about different types of cost share programs that are available to you, Partners of Scott County Watersheds is happy to help you research who might be the appropriate organization or person for your project, so that you can cut out some of the research and we can be a partner for you in figuring out which direction you want to go with your project. So here's a couple pictures from our educational forums of the past. This year we did our forums mostly in a virtual setting via Zoom, just like now. And we've had pretty good turnout for those, so we're happy about that. Hopefully as soon as possible, but we'll be able to go back to in person, because we know how valuable that is to be able to see your presenter and to speak to them directly about any concerns that you have. And they're once a month. They're usually the third Tuesday of the month, and they're from noon to 1. So if you're interested in hearing about the latest forums we have scheduled, you can go to our Facebook page, Partners of Scott County Watersheds, or our website, partnersofscottcountywatersheds.org. And our speaker topics usually focus around different conservation topics related to water quality. And here's some more details about our snapshot events. You can see the map there is a lot of the different sites that we have tested at in the past, and then some examples of the types of tests that volunteers do. They're very simple. A lot of it involves taking a bucket with a rope, getting a sample of water from a creek, and then using different types of dipsticks or pouring a sample into a bottle with some activating solution to change the color of the water and get some different readings based on what color the stick changes or what color your other little samples are changing. So we can train you on it. It's super easy to do, and it's really fun. You get to contribute to one of the longest running water quality databases in the state of Iowa. We also organize cleanup days along different streams in Scott County. So this year we partnered with Princeton and the city of Davenport, as well as the city of Bettendorf, to do some volunteer trash pickups, as well as large debris removal in some of the streams in the area. We also work with a lot of different organizations that you can see on the right side of the screen. They provide valuable resources for us in the forms of volunteers for our water quality monitoring events. Also, some of them serve on our board, and they also help with some of the logistics of some of our larger events. And also you can see here, one of our latest water quality improvement projects is installing what we call biofilters along Robin Creek in Northwest Davenport. And these biofilters consist of layers of a material that's, it kind of has the consistency of steel wool, and the point of layering these on top of a stream bank is for water to filtrate through these layers. And what will happen is it will capture some of the bacteria that is present in the water and prevent it from going downstream. So this is an ongoing project where we are monitoring the bacteria levels as well as other water quality parameters in the creek to see if this will help improve it. And if you want to see them, you just have to go to the Marquette Dog Park on North Marquette, and you'll be able to see them if you go down the little bike path. Also, a big part of our education is signage. So just earlier this year, there was a sign installed at Westlake Park in Davenport advertising one of the water quality BMPs, best management practices, that Westlake Park staff has installed. It's called a bioswale, and you've heard a little bit about that today. It's a way to help filter the water as it drains from one of the parking lots at Westlake Park into the lake itself. So it's part of their large project, their reconstruction work they're doing right now. So you can go check that out, and in the future we're hoping to help make some more signs for that project. And then we've also got some other projects in the works about updating some interpretive signage around the county. And then we also currently have a video online that has an in-depth training for doing the snapshot water quality tests. And we are also working over the winter to improve that by getting some really cool video shot of people actually doing those water quality tests in the field. We also do a lot of outreach. So kind of like Dawn mentioned, her presentation, we assist with some farm field days where people can go to different farms and see the different types of water quality improvement projects they're doing. We also speak at homeowners associations, different school events, and public events like the Earth Day Fair and Bald Eagle Days. We also have, we can provide free technical assistance to local citizens. So if you are interested in implementing a water quality project, or maybe you just have a water quality or stormwater issue that you don't know where to start, give us a call or an email, and we're happy to meet with you and take a look at your issue and see who we could recommend to help you with that program, and then also possibly hook you up with someone that can give you some funding for that project. So just another resource that Partners provides. So in order to keep events like this going, as well as our water quality monitoring, we offer a membership and funding partner program. So if you're interested in learning how to become a member or a funding partner, you can go to our website, www.partnersofscottcountywatersheds.org. And like I said, any donations that we receive go right back into the programs that we give to you. So we appreciate anything you can provide. Also, we do have a GoFundMe set up for water quality monitoring materials because they expire regularly. And so we are constantly restocking those. That is our biggest expense of the year, is restocking these water quality monitoring supplies. So if you search GoFundMe water quality monitoring, you can find that page and make a donation that way as well. So you can save the dates. We normally take the winter off for the forums, but the next forum will be in February, and there will be details announced on our Facebook, social media pages, and our website for that February speaker. And then also those are the dates for the snapshots. We usually have them in May, July, and October, and they're from 8 to noon. So volunteers of any age, high school and older, can participate in those, and you don't have to have any prior experience. We will train you, and we are guaranteed to have a good day. So details for that will be released later next year as well. So our plans for 2021 include a floating classroom event in partnership with Living Lands and Waters. We are working on partnering with them to provide some water quality fun days for some summer camp programs in the area. So stay tuned for more information on that. And then we also are going to have part 2 of our stream bank restoration workshop. Some of you may have attended that earlier this year. So if you're interested in doing some stream bank restoration, we're going to have a local expert discuss the steps that are involved in doing that. Also, Partners of Scott County Watersheds has adopted the Crow Creek Wildlife Management Area near Mount Joy. And so we are going to start organizing some regular cleanup days in that area as well. We're also going to keep expanding and further focusing our water quality monitoring efforts as funding allows, as well as in 2021, we are going to start entering our snapshot water quality monitoring results on a digital platform instead of on paper data sheets that we've provided our volunteers with for several years. We've now partnered with Scott County GIS and IT folks to create an app that should make entering data a lot easier for both the volunteers and easier for our partner staff and volunteers to interpret. And then we would love to partner with more communities in Scott County for cleanup efforts. So if you're interested in doing a stream bank cleanup, just give us an email or a call and we'd be happy to schedule something with you. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for, oh, also I forgot to mention that we do have a forum. I guess the last forum, yeah, will be in a couple weeks. It's November 17th, and that's going to be a wrap up of all of the Partners of Scott County Watersheds activities that we are doing. That we've done this year, and more information about our future plans. So we are going to have that November 17th. It's a Tuesday from noon to 1, and you can find information about that on our website. So I really appreciate everyone coming to our first grant programs webinar today. And like I mentioned earlier, this is being recorded, and we will let you know when it is available to view again in case you missed any of the presentations. And thank you once again to the Iowa Nutrient Research Center for all of your help for this event.